Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some surprise patch notes that just came out today. Patch notes 5.8.0. So, let's get into it. In the event that you haven't seen, there were some patch notes that came out today. They basically just say, hey everyone, we had a data push and here's what you need to know. There are a few changes being, I guess, singular, which is going to be the cost of the entry fee for the Jumpstart event, along with the mana bonuses for the Planeswalkers that you can use in the Jumpstart event so that they are the same as the original Planeswalkers. But I feel like the biggest update to this, and I'll get to the changes down here in a moment, is that we're going to be getting a new Tri Color Planeswalker in Puzzle Quest. And I would imagine that this will mean that we'll see this Planeswalker enter the vault before Dominaria United becomes available in Puzzle Quest, which is really exciting. So the new Planeswalker is Dihada, Binder of Wills. You'll see that we've got a new tricolor white, black, red Planeswalker. This is a color scheme that doesn't currently exist in Puzzle Quest beyond using something like Karn. So this will be a new kind of Tricolor Walker for us. This Tricolor Walker has the sort of like base Tricolor Walker mana bonuses. So things like Brokon and the original Bolas and Narset, they are all going to have this mana bonus spread. This is sort of like the go-to, so +3, +3, +3 to the colors, right? So it's white, so +3 to white. It's black, so +3 to black. It's red, so +3 to red. The three abilities for this one are Legends Never Die, Will Judgment, and Unwilling Betrayal. And Unwilling Betrayal is actually going to bring something new to Puzzle Quest, which is really exciting to me. So the first ability, Legends Never Die, is going to make it so that you permanently give a creature you control Vigilance and Lifelink, and then if that creature is legendary, it's going to gain Prevent Damage until the beginning of your next turn. This is a pretty significant and useful ability, because giving a creature a permanent Vigilance plus Lifelink Evergreen set is definitely really useful for keeping you in a match and even killing off your opponent's creatures. Especially with how many white creatures have things like First Strike or Double Strike, giving them Vigilance is really, really useful. But beyond that, giving that creature Prevent Damage until the beginning of your next turn, if it's legendary, means that if you have a decent enough creature out and you use this first ability, Legends Never Die, on a legendary creature, then you can just wipe your opponent's board by using this ability on one of your creatures. So this is a fantastic defensive ability, and I actually could see myself using this just to put Vigilance and Lifelink on something so I could play more battles more quickly, or even just use it so that my legendary creature stays alive and wipes my opponent's board. It could serve as like pseudo removal, which is pretty cool. The second ability, Will Judgment, is going to create a Will Judgment token and make that card's level become 4. Keep in mind, this is all at level 60. At the lower levels, this will not necessarily do all these things. So the Will Judgment token is a support that enters the board and is going to pick up to the top X of the first 4 cards of your library. So you look at the top 4 cards of your library and you pick however many you want. And then for each of those picked cards, if that card is a legendary creature, you fetch it. Otherwise, legendary creatures in your hand are going to gain X mana, where X is equal to this card's level. Then you're going to take all the cards that weren't fetched this way and move them to your graveyard and make that many gold tokens. So to simplify this ability a little bit, right, you are going to pick up to 4 cards from the top 4 cards of your library. For each one of those that is a legendary creature, you can fetch them. For each one that isn't a legendary creature that you fetch, all your legendary creatures in your hand are going to gain 4 mana because this thing's going to be level 4, right? I guess there are I think there's a Vanguard that can make it level 5, so you could actually, with other cards, have this boosted, but for the most part, it's just going to be then give all legendary creatures in your hand 4 mana for each card you choose that isn't a legendary creature. And then if you don't actually wind up wanting any of the cards this way, you can just have them all go to the graveyard and you can get that many gold tokens. Gold tokens are artifact supports with 1 shield that upon destruction or match will give you 3 mana to the first card in your hand that can gain mana. So definitely a really cool ability. For 14 loyalty, I don't know how much I would use this ability, but I'm definitely interested to see it. And then the other thing about it is that at the end of the turn, you exile the support. So when you use Will Judgment and you create the token, make it level 4, it's just basically a look at the top 4 cards and fetch however many you want and get bonus effects based on how you play that out. So at the end of the turn, the support is destroyed, so you'd have to use it again, the ability again, to get the ability. And finally, the third ability, Unwilling Betrayal, you're going to gain control of up to the first 3 opposing creatures until end of turn and enable all of them. Those creatures are going to gain haste, trample, and double strike, and then you're going to create a copy of all opposing supports on the board under your control. Then you're going to create an Unwilling Betrayal token and give that token the Heroism emblem. I'm guessing that the Heroism emblem is something that you'll gain at later levels. It will not come at the beginning. I'm also guessing that because it says gain control of up to the first 3 opposing creatures until end of turn, that this is really going to work in one of 2 ways. The first way is that regardless of how many creatures you have out and how many creature slots you have available, you're going to be able to just steal all of your opponent's creatures. And if it means that they have fewer than 3 creatures, you take fewer. If it means that they have 3 creatures, you take 3 creatures, right? So the first way of interpreting it is just that you'll take all of them regardless of how many creatures you have, and the second way of interpreting it is that you'll take that equal to the number of creature slots that you have available. So we'll just have to see this in practice. Some of these stealing things effects bypass the creature limit, and some of them do not. So then the really important thing right here is this Unwilling Betrayal token. So the Unwilling Betrayal token is a treasure token, supposedly, which is interesting. But at the end of your turn, you're going to exile all creatures and supports on the battlefield, and all legendary cards in your hand are going to gain X mana, where X is the number of cards that you exile with this ability. And then if this support has the Heroism emblem, instead just all cards in your hand are going to gain X mana, where X is the number of cards that are exiled this way. So what makes this ability really cool and a new ability to Puzzle Quest is that this is just a Planeswalker ability that complete board wipes. So it does wipe your side, it does wipe your opponent's side, but it's going to wipe all creatures and supports from the battlefield. It doesn't specify vanguards, so my guess is that vanguards will stay on the battlefield when Unwilling Betrayal is activated and then the end of turn effect happens. So it will not get rid of things like Teferi or other pesky vanguards. However, it will absolutely wipe the board and give you a fresh board state to play around, which could definitely be a really useful ability in an event like, say, a Timeless Voyage, where you're going to be given just a ton of loyalty anyways for the ability, and then you can go ahead and use it and clear the board and give cards in your hand full mana. I guess in a Timeless Voyage, the full mana doesn't matter because you get that too, but nonetheless, this Planeswalker really brings a lot to the table between the 3 colors and then also the ability to board wipe on its own and gain life. Really, the only downside to the Walker is the life total at 98. 98 is pretty low. However, with this first ability and then the third ability's control in conjunction with having white in its color identity makes it so that I don't think this is actually going to be a major concern with this Planeswalker. So when this Walker comes out, I'll be doing a review, I imagine, on it, and I'll get more in depth about it. I really like the color pairing. I like that red discards a lot of cards and that black brings a lot of cards back from the graveyard. So I think that these 2 colors work together really well. And I think that white is going to take care of a number of weaknesses that these 2 colors have. So I think that this could actually wind up being a very solid top tier Planeswalker. So the other thing that I was going to go over in this are the changes to the Jumpstart event. So the Jumpstart entry fee being changed from 320 to 270 mana crystals is definitely significant. Having that cost go down by 50 crystals is definitely good. However, I feel like right now, just in the game, there aren't enough ways to get enough mana crystals to really justify playing Jumpstart like often, unless you're a person who is pay to play, just because this entry fee is just so expensive given how many crystals you get back for playing the event. And I know that you get a lot of cards, so I'm not by any means knocking the rewards for Jumpstart in terms of what you're gaining card-wise for the crystals you're putting in. It's more that means that you have to choose to put the crystals into Jumpstart as opposed to getting something like a new Planeswalker or picking up more of the current set or, other things like that, or even like specialized cards from Fiblethip's Vault. So we have a lot of things to spend mana crystals on, but I feel like we just don't necessarily have enough ways to get enough mana crystals to fuel how many we would want to spend on things. And so just my hot take on this is that 270 is still too expensive for me for Jumpstart. So that's really all that I had for that. So I wanted to make this one a quick one, so I'm going to wrap this one up here. But it's definitely exciting to see a new Planeswalker appear between sets. Let me know what you guys all think about this walker and what you think about the changes to Jumpstart and the entry fee. Is this enough of a change for you to do the Jumpstart event? And as I haven't actually made a video on Jumpstart yet, if you want to throw in the comments how you feel about Jumpstart and if you'd want to see me make a video on Jumpstart, that would definitely be helpful for feedback for me. So thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.